It's Metal Fan 230 here, back with another brand new 2013 album review. And as you can see by the title of this video, I'm going to be reviewing the new album from Florida metal band Trivium. See by the shirt I'm wearing. And I'm going to be reviewing their new album, Vengeance Falls, which is the follow-up to 2011's In Waves. Now, this album actually leaked yesterday. I found out because I think one of my good friend Thomas the Alcoholic 11, shout out to you, dude. Actually, he told me that it had leaked and sent me a link, and I went and checked it out. And I was highly anticipated for this album, as you know, Trivium are one of my favorite bands of all time, and I was just like, wow. I was just very impressed about this album. I mean, Trivium always comes out with pretty much fantastic material. Well, not so much the Crusade, but I mean, don't get me wrong, the Crusade's a cool album, but it's not that great. But let's talk about In Waves. Now, this album is produced by Disturbed's David Draiman, and I think he had sort of a big influence on this album. Like, he sort of pretty much knew what Trivium were about, and he became good friends with the guys. And now, I think his influence, you could tell that he had a big influence on this album. Especially, like a lot of people also, there's also one thing I should also notice, that a lot of people complain about how Trivium are sounding like Disturbed, mainly in the vocal department from Matt Heafy. Like, there is some parts where Matt Heafy kind of sounds like David Draiman. Like, in the way, like in some of the songs, like in the verses, like the way Matt Heafy's singing it, and like the way he enunciates his words sounds kind of like David Draiman. Personally, I kind of see it, but I don't see what the big deal is. But I mean, it's still Trivium. It's still pretty good. And now let's talk about the production of this album. It's pretty much the same, similar to like In Waves. It's kind of still the same. So yeah, enough talk. Let's talk about the songs that are on this album. Now the song opens up with "Brave the Storm," which I actually did a track review of this song before this album had leaked. It's a very good song. It's probably the first song I've heard off this album. It's a very good song. Next song is the title track, Vengeance Falls, which has a very cool intro. It's very epic sounding, and there's some really great singing from Matt Heafy, and there's a very great chorus. I really like the screams from screaming folks that says "Vengeance Falls," which sounds pretty awesome. Next song is Strife, which is actually the first single released off this album. There's actually a music video out now, which is a very good song. But I do have one little nitpick about that song. That song, it's just a little nitpick. Like, in the verses, I think they're using some sort of distortion filter during the verses. I mean, I just didn't really like that a whole lot. I mean, I liked it, the live version of Strife without it. That's just my little nitpick about that song. But other than that, though, Strife's a pretty good song. Next song is called No Way to Heal, which is another great song. It has some really great drumming and some great guitars. That's the third song I've heard that Trivium actually put out a while ago before this album leaked. It's a pretty good song. Next song is called To Believe, which gets right into it. There's sort of like a very rhythmic, like in the verses. And there's a cool lead part in that song. It's pretty good. Next song is called At the End of This War, which has starts off very with an acoustic intro. That then it sort of gets, which takes up like a minute or so. Then it gets right into some pretty thrashy with sort of melodic vocals. And there's some fast double bass and some pretty good guitar solos in that song. Alright, next song is called Through Blood and Dust and Bone, which on that song I could actually hear the bass in that song a lot. I think Paulo's bass playing is pretty good, but I do think the bass sounds a bit too clanky, which is not bad, but the bass could have been a little bit better. It just sounds a little clanky, and the riffs sound pretty cool, I have to say. Next song is called Villainy Thrives, which is another good song. I really like that song. It's one of my favorite songs of this album. Next song is called Incineration, The Broken World, which had some very odd guitar parts. I don't know why. It just sounded a bit very odd in my opinion. And there's some pretty good good drumming, cool drumming in that song, and there's really cool, like how the vocals are. They're sort of screaming and singing. It's a pretty good song. And then we get to the last song that's on the standard edition called "Wake the End Is Nigh," which starts off with sort of a clean guitar intro. So it sounds very creepy and eerie, but it sounds pretty damn good. But then after that, it gets fast paced, and it's just a very good way to end sort of the standard edition. Now, of course, if you heard the deluxe edition, when I heard this album, it's actually the deluxe edition. Actually, there's actually the 3 bonus songs, which are going to be on the special edition of Vengeance Falls. Let's talk about the first one, which is "No Hope for the Human Race," which is not that bad of a song. It's pretty cool. The next song then we get to the next bonus track, which is called "As I Am Exploding," which is just it's just right in your face, just pounds your face in. It's just a very cool song. Then the last song is called "Skulls We Are 138." Now that's actually a cover by, originally done by punk band called the Misfits, which are sort of a horror punk band. And it's not that bad of a cover. They sort of stay true to the original, but they also sort of has sort of the old vibe. It's sort of like has their own style. Like it's Trivium sort of, and Misfits. Like it's Misfits, but I just like it's a very good cover, I have to say. But it also has sort of like their own style of Trivium to it, which makes it pretty unique, and it makes it sound awesome. It's a pretty good cover. Now overall, Vengeance Falls is a very good album. I was very, very surprised about this album. I'm definitely going to get this album when it comes out. It comes out October 15th through Roadrunner Records. I'm definitely most likely going to get this because I'm Trivium, one of my favorite bands. So overall, I'm going to give Vengeance Falls by Trivium a 9 out of 10. Just a great album. I'm going to go check it out. And this is my review. See you guys, and keep it metal.